This is your final chance. That is truly what this moment represents. It is one last opportunity before a profound shift occurs within you, a change so deep that your former self will become unrecognizable. You did not stumble upon this by mere chance. You are currently facing a pivotal moment that you have spent a long time evading. It is a vital dialogue you have been trying hard to ignore. I genuinely sense where you are at, and I am urging you to stop brushing this aside and stop promising yourself that you will deal with it eventually, because your life has officially reached a critical turning point. You simply cannot afford to passively tune out while your thoughts wander. This is the exact message you need to receive at this precise moment, carrying the very weight on your heart that you've been bearing for far longer than you care to confess. You are all too familiar with that sensation. It is the heavy ache settling in your chest during those late silent hours at home. It is the uninvited thought interrupting your daily routine, quietly insisting that something isn't right, something remains unresolved. An important part of your life is on the verge of requiring your full focus, regardless of your readiness. You've been consumed by keeping up appearances. More accurately, you've been entirely consumed by basic survival. You poured so much energy into merely surviving each week that you fail to realize the powerful undercurrent pulling beneath you. However, I need you to acknowledge that force right now. That momentum has been steering your path for months, if not years, and where it has taken you is finally coming into focus. That is the true purpose of this message. That is the subtle restlessness you feel inside but haven't been able to clearly articulate. You have received clear signals along the way. You have experienced brief instances where you intuitively felt something greater than your routine life attempting to get your attention. Perhaps it was an unusually meaningful coincidence that seemed far too aligned to be random. It could have been a vivid dream that stayed with you long after waking, or maybe a casual remark from a stranger answered a deep query you had never voiced to anyone. Clear as throat, you repeatedly dismiss those occurrences because they seem illogical, overly emotional, or far too mystical for practical life you believe you should lead. Yet those instances were far from accidental coincidences. They were direct calls to action. They were steady, persistent knocks on the door of your consciousness, urging you to lift your head from your relentless to do list and pay close attention to the true realities unfolding beneath the surface of your daily routine. And you have genuinely felt that tug, haven't you? That is precisely the reason you stopped to watch this video. That is why the headline captured your interest and held your focus just a second longer than normal. A deep part of your inner self acknowledged the truth of these words well before your logical mind could even digest them. You are thoroughly exhausted, not simply needing a good night's sleep, nor is it the simple fatigue that a quick weekend getaway can fix. It is a deep soulful weariness caused by striving to satisfy everyone else, ignoring your personal desires, and dimming your own potential out of fear of what might occur if you truly allowed your greatness to shine. You have been holding yourself back, not due to any lack of ability, but because you were waiting for a green light you never needed to request. That authority has always belonged to you, and right now, I am placing it firmly into your care. Divine forces did not direct me to offer you a superficial comforting note that elevates your mood briefly before vanishing. I was guided here to jar you into full awareness. The pressing nature of this moment is entirely real. An extraordinary opportunity is opening up before you, and moments like this do not remain available indefinitely. You've been lingering right on the threshold, sensing the draft and feeling the atmospheric change. Yet you have hesitated to cross over because the uncertainty beyond frightens you. And I completely understand that perspective. Facing the unfamiliar is daunting when you have dedicated years to constructing a life centered on structured output and strict control. Nevertheless, that uncharted territory is precisely where your future lies. That is a realm where your upcoming chapter unfolds. It is where a stronger version of yourself, completely free from crippling anxiety and self doubt, stands fully realized, prepared to inhabit the very existence you continuously dream about. Whenever your thoughts drift, you become aware of a heavy burden you carry. It is a matter you repeatedly swore you would resolve eventually. Yet that future moment has arrived and passed, leaving you fully burdened by its weight. Perhaps it involves a crucial choice you continue to postpone. Perhaps it is a personal connection that requires honest evaluation. Or perhaps it is a core truth about your identity that you've been terrified to voice. Whatever it may be, I am pleading with you to cease escaping it. Not because facing will be simple, but because the vital energy you drain by dodging it can instead fuel a total transformation of your reality. You are burning through an immense amount of personal power merely to sustain a routine that fails to bring you genuine fulfillment. Imagine what could transpire if you simply redirected that strength. What incredible shifts might occur if you quit suppressing these heavy truths, face them directly, acknowledge their presence, and consciously chose how to address them. I desperately need you to grasp an essential truth. The internal pushback you are experiencing at this moment is not an indication that these words do not apply to you. That very hesitation is the exact reason this guidance is essential for you. Your ego is desperately attempting to shield you from transformation. Your deeply ingrained patterns are aggressively working to anchor you in safe, familiar ground. Even when that familiar environment brings you pain, you have grown accustomed to your current misery simply because it feels controllable and predictable. You possess the skills to survive a mediocre, barely tolerable existence, but you haven't yet learned how to navigate a life overflowing with abundance and joy. Consequently, that lack of familiarity strikes you as risky. Yet, allow me to share an honest perspective with you. The genuine risk does not reside in the unexplored future. The true peril lies in remaining stagnant right where you are until this opportunity vanishes, leaving you forever haunted by lingering regrets and unanswered possibilities. What incredible outcomes might unfold if you simply summon the courage to take a single bold action forward. You have been actively searching for a clear signal. Indeed, you've been holding out for a definitive sign. Perhaps you have pleaded for one, prayed deeply for guidance, or desperately wished for direction. And right now, it is standing before you. This sign is neither hidden nor subtle. It is not concealed within the brief message of fortune cookie or veiled inside the poetic lyrics of a track. It is positioned directly before you, articulated through unmistakable spoken words and delivered with an intensity that you cannot possibly overlook. This present instant is your opportunity to make a conscious decision. It is not about selecting between fully visible highways, but about choosing to believe that a way forward exists even when the immediate route is enveloped in thick fog. That mindset is the true definition of genuine faith. It does not require absolute certainty. Rather, it demands a bold willingness to advance regardless of the mist. Although I may not comprehend the exact circumstances you're enduring at this moment, nor do I know the detailed nuances of your inner turmoil, perplexity, or resentment. I am deeply familiar with that emotional state. I intimately understand the overwhelming fatigue of trying to maintain control and support everyone around you when circumstances refuse to align smoothly. I recognize the deep isolation of lying awake in the dark, questioning whether a single soul truly observes you, genuinely comprehends your spirit, or genuinely invests in your ultimate well being. Furthermore, I assure you with complete conviction that you do not bear that emotional burden alone. You never have walked this path in complete isolation. Paradoxically, the exact feeling of alienation that makes you feel so detached is a universal thread linking you to every other person who has ever endured that same silent struggle. Your ongoing struggle is by no means evidence that you are defective. Your hardship is simply confirms your shared humanity. It proves that you are still actively striving, still holding on to hope, and still believing in your heart that a brighter reality is possible. Therefore, I urge you to take the specific step now. Abandon the facade, if only for a brief instant. Cease projecting the illusion that you possess all the solutions. Discontinue acting as though you are immune to fatigue, fear, or hesitation. Grant yourself permission to exist authentically in this moment without carrying a defensive shield, without presenting a curated facade, and without adhering to the internal narrative regarding who you ought to be. Consider this core reality. The individuals you are striving to win over are not even focusing on your performance. The individuals who truly count cherish you for your authentic self. Ultimately, the person who most urgently needs to reconnect with your authentic soul is you. You have maintained a distance from your true self for so long that your genuine identity feels almost unfamiliar. Consequently, the pressing purpose of these words is to guide you back to your core essence before you stray any deeper into the void. That unsaid truth you've been terrified to express, The very topic you continuously evade in your inner thoughts and suppress whenever it arises demands your attention. I am inviting you to permit that thought to rise to the surface. Allow its space to exist. Grant it a clear voice within your own mind. You are under no obligation to reveal it to another living soul, nor are you required to execute immediate changes right this instant. However, you must cease acting as if that core truth is non existent. Taking that step represents your initial progress. It marks the opening of a new doorway. The precise second you end the self deception regarding your true desires, your authentic emotions, and the burdens you've swallowed, your entire world will begin profound evolution. I realize that such a monumental transition terrifies you. I understand your deep anxiety over what might confront you once you finally halt your escape. Yet I give you my absolute word that confronting this truth will not bring about your downfall. Instead, it promises profound liberation. It offers a soothing release of breath you have held tightly for far too many years. It represents the ultimate freedom to exist without pretense. This is the exact realization higher forces intended to convey to you. You have been functioning under an outdated framework that was never meant to foster your spiritual expansion. You have conformed to standards that were never genuinely your own. You have shouldered heavy demands imposed by individuals who had no real understanding of their weight. Moreover, you integrated those external standards as though they defined your fundamental identity. Yet that assumption is entirely false. The authentic reality of who you truly are is infinitely grander, vastly more formidable, and far more magnificent than the limited persona you present to society. That true self is fully prepared to emerge into the light. It has been calling out for your attention. Recall that those subtle coincidences were precisely that calling. That is the true meaning behind this intense urgency. Your genuine self is ready to step into full visibility. You will likely experience a strong impulse to exit this video right now. A sudden compulsion to scroll through your phone, recall an urgent task, or second guess as why you're devoting time to this message. That reaction is simply your psychological defense mechanism attempting to maintain your comfort zone. However, that defense mechanism is working with flawed logic. It relies on obsolete behavioral programming, strives to shield you within an environment that no longer reflects your current reality. The anxieties that overwhelmed you in your youth do not hold the same power over you today. The survival strategies that protected you in past chapters are no longer effective for your present journey. Furthermore, the reality you inhabited 5 years ago is not the destiny you are designed to fulfill today. A powerful inner potential has been steadily developing, broadening, and straining against the boundaries of your old life. This transmission serves as your ultimate breakthrough. This marks the exact point where ancient barriers crumble, allowing you to finally behold the incredible self you've been quietly developing into all along. I recognize your intense desire for an unmistakable answer. I know you crave an indisputable sign that leaves zero room for doubt. Perhaps a massive sign bearing your name or a divine command echoing from the heavens, dictating your precise path forward. Yet deep down, you recognize that life rarely operates in such an overt fashion. Enlightenment arrives incrementally. It reveals itself during quiet instances such as this, through expressions that resonate far deeper than logical reasoning can comprehend, and to intuitive nudges that defy easy explanation, yet prove impossible to dismiss. The core answer is already housed within your spirit. Your inner guidance is already functioning. You've spent so much energy searching excellently for validation that you neglected the quiet wisdom continuously echoing from inside your soul. My sole mission here is to reassure you that inner guidance is entirely authentic, that quiet intuition is completely reliable, and that subtle internal compass has been desperately trying to direct your steps for a very long time. How you choose to respond to this message remains entirely your decision. I possess no ability to force your belief, nor can I compel you to take practical action. My only role is to convey these insights with absolute clarity and trust that you perceive a genuine reality within them. Nevertheless, I must present a challenge that may cause temporary discomfort. I am urging you to completely abandon self limiting excuses. Refuse to tell yourself that your schedule is too full. Cease convincing yourself that you lack readiness, value, or capability. Those doubts stem entirely from fear rather than authentic truth. Ultimately, The sole barrier separating you from the vibrant existence you truly desire is your determination to push past those internal doubts, recognize their presence, release their grip, and execute one small step toward a future that intimidates you simply because you intuitively comprehend that it is a precise path you are destined to travel. This immediate pressure is not intended as a penalty. This pressing moment revolves entirely around divine alignment. A specific reason exists for why you are encountering these words today rather than half a year ago. A distinct purpose underlines the lingering discontent, lack of fulfillment, and sensation of absence you have experienced. That internal friction is not an adversary, it serves as your spiritual compass. It is signaling that your present environment is merely a temporary stop rather than your final destination. It is prompting you to transition, evolve, and step into the elevated edition of your persona that has been patiently anticipating your arrival. This transmission provides the exact catalyst you've been anticipating, not because you require an outside force to drive you forward, but because amid the chaos of everyday existence, you occasionally forget that you possess inherent strength, capability, and the power to progress independently. I want you to anchor that realization within your physical being at this very moment. Recognize your innate strength and reclaim the personal agency you have inadvertently surrendered. You have been waiting for approval from individuals who never possessed the right to validate you. You have delayed action while waiting for ideal circumstances, for total absence of fear, or for crystal clear certainty to illuminate every single detail before taking your initial step. Yet reality never unfolds in that manner. You must initiate movement first, and true understanding illuminates your path progressively as you advance. You take decisive action, and anxiety naturally dissipates. You make a firm commitment, and the route unfolds before you. The sequence cannot be inverted. Passive delay will persist endlessly. The hypothetical perfect timing will never materialize. The solitary route away from your current state requires direct passage through the challenge. I deeply hope you do not simply discard this message and erase it from your memory. I do not want you to experience a brief burst of motivation for a few fleeting moments only to relapse into identical routines, familiar justifications, and the same confined existence that has been quietly stifling your spirit. I desire for this exact instant to serve as your definitive breakthrough. I hope you will look back upon this exchange in the future as the pivotal moment your life transformed, not owing any remarkable wisdom on my part, but because you at last truly digested the message you required all along and made a conscious choice to act on it. Therefore, absorb these words as I state them once more. You possess incredible potential, dear soul. You are far more equipped than your current mindset acknowledges. You possess greater resilience than the hardships currently exhausting you. You are immeasurably more entitled to a fulfilling life than the negative narratives you repeatedly tell yourself would suggest. The doorway revealing itself right now, the path that inspires equal parts anticipation and dread, is not a journey you must undertake in total isolation. Unseen support surrounds you that you have yet to claim. Divine direction awaits that you have not yet tapped into. An incredible future stands ready to blossom the moment you cease obstructing its entry with personal doubt. Higher guides did not dispatch me to induce fear within you. They dispatched me to awaken your consciousness. Now that your eyes are open, the responsibility shifts entirely to you. The next decision is yours to make. This is your defining moment to choose whether you will continue repeating the same monotonous routine indefinitely, or whether you will step boldly into a fresh reality, a genuine path that resonates like home and aligns perfectly with your true soul essence. This marks my final warning regarding this matter, not due to any loss of faith in your potential, but because any future reference to this topic will no longer be an active invitation. It will simply be the lingering memory of an opportunity you chose to disregard. I truly desire a better outcome for your journey. I want you to reflect on this day with pride, knowing you made the courageous decision. You chose to step across the threshold. You honored the inner calling you felt even without complete logical justification. You finally embrace your destiny that encompasses the entire purpose of this message. That is the core of this calling that defines this pressing timing. It represents a final compassionate effort to connect with you before this temporal opportunity shuts down. You are fully prepared. You have possessed this readiness all along. You simply required a external validation confirming that it was safe to discontinue your hesitation. Now you hold that validation. You are completely secure. The sole task remaining is to take that initial action forward. Your true destiny is waiting. Go claim it.